everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. Thanks for joining me. My name is Candice Marie. I'll be your astrologer today. Those of you guys who are new to my channel, welcome. I'm a Western and evolutionary astrologer with an emphasis on predictions, chart predictions, and my practice is unique because I like to incorporate both the Sabin symbols, tarot, and what I see clairvoyantly. So if you like my content, give me a thumbs up. Make sure to hit the subscription button below. To everybody who is members and you're joining me, thanks for watching. I wanted to create a video this week talking about the Venus-Chiron conjunction. I think it's rather important, and I think that it's going to be a really great topic for this week, just before the transit hits. That way we can talk a little bit about what may manifest from that and how we can actually heal with the help of this tricky transit. So do me a favor, and if you like this, give me a comment or give me a thumbs up. So, Venus conjunct Chiron in Aries. That's a mouthful, right? I guess I can summarize it by saying that the transit in itself, it's short, it is not sweet, and this is about choosing love over fear. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what the transit may bring. This will resonate with some people who have this conjunction natally, the Venus-Chiron conjunction, or if you have Venus and Chiron in a hard angle to each other. So obviously, I believe, especially working with Chiron, dealing with a conjunction is one of the more powerful and kind of like obvious transits, or the energies in a natal chart are going to be more just obvious and kind of pronounced. But if you are somebody who has natal Venus in a square or an opposition to Chiron, you may resonate with some of the things that I talk about today. If you are also experiencing transit Chiron in a square or an opposition to your natal Venus, Sun, Moon, or Rising, this applies to you as well. With all of my videos, if you stay tuned to the end, I'm going to talk about how it's affecting each and every one of the 12 rising signs. Now, this transit is not going to be exact until about May 14th, and between May 14th and 15th, it's going to be felt the strongest. Now, this is going to affect 12 to 16 degrees of Aries placements. So if you are an Aries Sun, Moon, or Rising, if you have your Venus, maybe your North Node, within these 12 to 15 degrees of Aries, you're going to feel this quite strongly. And this particular transit, while it's short, I think it's going to pack quite a punch, and it's important, actually. I think the Venus transit to Chiron is really opening us up to heal. Now, if you have cardinal placements between 12 and 16 degrees, so that would be the second decan of the cardinal signs of Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, or Aries, you are going to be feeling this quite strongly. And Venus in general is a planet that deals with opening. Like, I think of like flowers that bloom. I think of opening our hearts to love, to vulnerability, to relationships. And Venus also has a real strong connection to the arts, femininity, women in general, socializing, feminism, art, you name it. You know, Venus being the ruler of both Taurus and Libra definitely rules quite a bit of things that deal with our value system, what tastes good, what feels good, our pleasure, our preferences. So whenever we're seeing any major Venus transits, these topics are going to come up. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer, and Chiron is a asteroid that deals specifically with being able to heal oneself, especially in the sign of Aries. And Chiron shows us essentially where we feel broken or inadequate. So when we think of it, it's almost kind of like the Achilles heel, and it will really shine a light on where we have issues within a certain area, depending on what sign and what house it falls in our natal chart, where we need to heal that particular issue. So when we look at Chiron, it's always bringing up themes of healing, and in the sign of Aries, it can be healing the self, healing the head, healing anything that deals with wounds, cuts, burns, abrasions, anything like that. But it can also be about healing our own personal issues that we have with our self-worth, our self-esteem, our attractiveness, anything like that. Now, we know that Venus is currently moving through the sign of Aries, and traditionally Venus is considered to be in detriment when it's in the sign of Aries, because it naturally is the ruler of Libra, and it's in its opposition sign-wise. So basically, you know, the goddess of love is not as comfortable in expressing love and romance and affection when it's in this sign. So when she's going through the Mars warrior sign of Aries, you're going to see kind of a polar energy of what we would usually see in Libra. So while Libra is what we do together, it's us, it's union, it's relationships, it's candlelight dinners and holding hands and romance and talking about marriage and saying I love you. In the sign of Aries, it's a little different, and I think it's really interesting that it's coming into conjunction right around the time also that we're seeing the moon in Libra make oppositions to this. So we're definitely going to feel it, not only because that conjunction is happening in the midst of Taurus season, but the moon in opposition in Libra is going to trigger this. And while the conjunction is taking place still, or while it's within 2 degrees, we're going to have the lunar eclipse in Scorpio. So there's a lot of energy in the air revolving around the need to heal our own wounds and our own issues with feeling separate or broken, not good enough, inadequate. And it's affecting everybody on a very individual level because it's happening in the sign of Aries. Now, in astrology, Chiron has like several steps, and the whole purpose of kind of addressing the Chiron wound is to become aware of it, kind of uncover it, rip the Band-Aid off, and go to town and heal it. So first things first is Chiron makes us aware of what hurts, what pain we have, and it brings it to the surface. And this is like the wounded healer phase. This is usually when we see the argument, the fight, the issues with the self-esteem, the problems in feeling inadequate or insecure, or the darker side of Venus in general. So, you know, Venus is not just known for butterflies and rainbows. She's also known for being kind of jealous and possessive, especially when it falls into kind of like the Taurus realm. Now, once we are aware of this wound, we can then give Chiron the ability to address that wound and to heal it. So for some people, you know, the Chiron return represents this energy of like the healing crisis. It happens in your 50s when Chiron returns and it comes into conjunction basically with your natal Chiron. But it's not limited to just the Chiron return. You can see this happen with Chiron squares, oppositions, and the conjunction. Now, the only thing that we need to be aware of, though, is that for us to be able to address the Chiron wound, we have to be aware and acknowledge and not be in denial that it's there. And that seems to be like the biggest hurdle, especially dealing with that with clients who are going through Chiron transits. Awareness seems to be everything. And I think it's really important because we can't actually correct the issue, we can't heal the wound until that awareness takes place. Now, the final phase is actually going to come from us realizing that that pain, that situation we went through, that crisis, actually was a gift. And we were able to make lemonade from the situation, heal and learn from it. And it ends up being something that reveals many gifts that we have within ourselves. Now, one thing that I would say to be aware of, especially because we're dealing with the sign of Aries, is anger and the difference between anger and passion, the difference between frustration and desire. These can be quite difficult when you're dealing with Mars-related energies. I know we're in Taurus season, but we have Venus in Aries. So Venus during a Venus season, Taurus season, is 12 signs behind Taurus, and it's in a Mars-related sign. So we can find that there are lots of frustrations or fears or past haunts, anger, things like that, that's kind of bubbling up to the surface and like coming out of nowhere. And we need to be really mindful of the difference, I think, between being passionate and being angry. So definitely there's a lot of like dealing with anger where repressed feelings, emotions, resentment, all of these things can materialize also as health health related issues. Now, when I think of Aries, I think of like getting angry and like stubbing your toe, or, you know, driving fast because you're frustrated and you're in an argument and having an accident, or, you know, being in the heat of the moment and, you know, bumping your head. These are the kinds of things that we see with Chiron and Aries. And we need to be more mindful of like actually losing our head in the process as well. Now, when Venus comes into conjunction with Chiron, it's important that whatever painful situations relating to self-worth, money, relationships, not feeling attractive, not feeling good enough or valuable is dealt with. We don't want to push it away, because the beauty of Venus and what Venus is kind of bringing to Chiron is the ability to open up and receive love. Now, although Chiron in Aries is like, no, leave me alone, let me do it on my own, you know, I can handle it myself. Venus is going to be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more pushy and a little bit more assertive, with her feeling the need to kind of jump in and help heal a wound. Things that hurt in the past, you know, will come up. It's not abnormal. It's important to observe, to stay open, and to reevaluate or redefine our values. When it comes to self-love, especially in the sign of Aries, but also in the things that we value personally, the things that we love personally, and redefining some of our own personal preferences. Now, one thing I'll also tell you is that like this isn't going to fix anything. It's not going to magically make problems go away. Actually, in a lot of ways, this will magnify problems that have already been present. And it does give you, through that kind of hurdle, the opportunity to show you how to be sweeter, softer, more open, how to nurture. It's going to show you how to love. So, you know, I keep going back to like a time where I was going through like a really significant Chiron transit. I was going through a Chiron conjunction, and I remember I was going through a breakup, and I remember like walking down the street and seeing like a really big billboard in downtown LA, and it said like choose love over fear. And I was like, whoa, you know, like it was just really prominent for me at that time, and I took a picture of it. And I was thinking a lot about that when I was looking at the transits that are going on currently, because I think that that's what it's going to bring up for a lot of people, even if it's not making a square or an opposition or a conjunction in your natal chart. It's going to bring up probably about a 24 to 72 hour period where you're going to notice that there's like a band-aid that you have to rip off somewhere in your life, and you need to apply a little bit more sweetness, or you need to apply a little bit more love to it. And when we have these transits with Venus being involved, it's going to give us the opportunity to heal it. A couple of things that just come up for me is also just staying open to what's shown to you, because it can oftentimes bring things up that were kind of deeply buried, and something that you weren't even aware was still there, something that didn't you thought that you dealt with, or maybe you thought it didn't hurt you anymore. And these can be things that can be difficult to handle. They can be things that can be painful and particularly ugly in some situations as well. Now, Venus, I think, also brings up the themes of money, and some things that kind of came to mind for me was that, you know, money can't heal wounds. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are. Can it make your lifestyle easier? Sure. Can it alleviate some issues? Sure. But can it fix things? No. Money ultimately can't buy happiness. And I think that that's something that's going to come up for quite a few people right now. Just the fact that we can't buy a gift, or, you know, do something lavish, or give flowers or whatever to kind of put a bandage on a broken arm in a relationship situation, if that's something that you're dealing with. And, you know, healing oneself through working on oneself is incredibly important. Granted, you can't rush the process, right? You can't rush the healing, but it is important to be constantly open and aware of what's going on over the next couple of days, especially when it comes to your immediate reactions, because Aries has this very quick moving, kind of responsive, on the defense kind of vibe. So we can have a tendency to react too quickly and not allow ourselves to be vulnerable or be open to constructive criticism, or where conflict arises, it gives us the opportunity to kind of, you know, level up and realize where we're being defensive and not willing to be a team player. Uncomfortable feelings, especially revolving around self-worth, is likely to arise. And when that comes up, it's up to us to make a decision to respond differently to that. One thing I love about Venus Chiron is it makes me feel like it's going to give us the opportunity to use art and beauty or flowers or music or something to help or aid with the healing process, right? It makes me feel like there's a lot of potential in art therapy, or breaking out a notebook and doing some journaling, or doing some collage work, or some sculpting, or some painting. How we can find that a particular record or an album can be especially therapeutic during this time. And it may help us kind of get in more so into alignment with how we're really feeling and processing some of those emotions, and being able to kind of work through something. Because Venus can be music. It can be anything that is going to enhance our experience and kind of comfort us when we're going through some of this stuff. For a very long time, and part of this is just coming from somebody who's got, Venus Chiron aspects. I was born with Venus in opposition to Chiron by about just a couple degrees. And over the last year or so, Chiron and Aries has been actually forming a T-square between my natal Venus and my natal Chiron. So it's been real active in my life, that closing square that's taking place before I come into my Chiron return. Anyways, I have found that Chiron and Aries is constantly reminding me that it's up to me to fix some of the issues within myself and not project that onto other people and hold other people accountable for my pain or my shortcomings or how I feel about myself. And it's been incredibly uncomfortable. So the uncomfortable feelings is definitely a lot of part of the course. And one thing that I have made a constant reminder of doing is reading this quote by Rumi, because I think that it's gotten me quite a ways. So I'll read it for you guys. Maybe you've heard of it. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. I think that Chiron and Aries really talks about where we put those walls up around ourselves. So we put that armor on, or that defense up, or our knuckles up, or something that really keeps us from being able to let other people love us. Especially if you have Aries placements. So those Aries sun, moon, or risings, or the North Node in Aries, the Venus in Aries, because there is a natural connotation to fight, to hit back, to want to be independent, to want to say, I've got it, let me do it myself, don't help me, it's fine, I've got it handled. That in itself is part of what is not allowing that wound to heal. Instead, it's sometimes making it kind of callous and making it fester, right? So remember that in a lot of ways, a lot of what's coming up that's uncomfortable right now is coming up so that way we can be aware of it, and giving us the opportunity to be vulnerable, right? So that way we can truly open our heart to feel pleasure, to feel love, to receive, to bring other people in, and to join us in union. And a lot of that requires us to become the best versions of ourselves before we can truly do the dance of life with other people. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about where this is happening in each and every one of the 12 signs. I am a Western astrologer. A lot of people always ask. I'm a Western astrologer. This is going to be for whole sign predictions. Listen for your ascendant and also listen for your sun sign. Like I said, special attention to those of you guys who are 12 to 16 degrees of Aries, sun, moon, rising, Venus, North Node. This is going to be an interesting period, pretty much now through the 15th, but I think you're going to feel it the most the 14th and the 15th of May. You can listen to your progress chart as well if that's something that you resonate with. I'm going to talk to you guys about which house Venus rules in your natal chart, and then I'm going to talk to you about where it's actually happening. Now, I am trying to do more of my astrology in this fashion, so that way it makes more sense as to what's going on in your life. The transit, like the house that it transits, is physically where it's going to happen in your life. But because Venus rules both Libra and Taurus, it's going to bring up the themes of 2 other houses in your natal horoscope and where you're really working through things. So when I talk about this, I'm talking about this generally, although you're going to kind of, something's usually going to kind of hit home when you're listening to your ascendant prediction. But if you're somebody who wants to learn more about your own personal Chiron transits, Venus transits, if you're wanting to understand where your natal Chiron is in your chart and get a reading, check out my links below. Check out my website at beyondtheveiltarot.com. I'm happy to take on new clients and talk to you guys about where these placements are in your natal chart. I offer natal chart readings, full hours, half hours, 1-question offers, whatever kind of suits your budget. So take a look at my website and see what I have to offer. Okay, so I want to preface this also by saying that if you are a chart that is ruled by Libra, so if you're a Taurus or Libra rising, you are going to feel this transit quite strongly, as well as all of the Aries placements. You're going to feel this quite strongly. And if you have any cardinal placements between 12 and 16 degrees of any of the cardinal signs, you are going to feel this quite strongly. Okay. So for Aries and Aries rising, this is happening in your sign. The Venus-Chiron conjunction is happening in your 1st house. If you're an Aries rising, Venus rules your 2nd of money, resources, and self-esteem, as well as your 7th of relationships and personal partnerships, right? I see this as healing issues within the body. Or issues of not feeling wanted, if that's something that you have been dealing with, if you've been feeling rejected, if you haven't been feeling attractive, if you haven't been feeling well, if you haven't been feeling healthy. Venus is coming in, it wants to help you. It might bring people to help heal your relationships, your finances, your issues with self-worth. These might be the areas of your life where you are receiving some assistance from Venus. I would say if you have been healing from an ailment, if you've been sick, if you've had an injury, especially anything to deal with the face, the head, the sinuses, migraines, concussions, bumping your head, anything like that, it's going to get healed. Okay. The card that I get for you is the 4 of Wands. Wowzers. That's the marriage card. And it can be healing a marriage or a marital issue or a partnership issue. It's about homecoming. It's about celebration. It's about harmony. It can be bringing more stability in terms of your relationships of your partners. It can be making you feel united, and it can also be bringing about gatherings or things that make you actually feel celebrated. I also feel like just having Venus in your sign is giving you a little bit more extra oomph. You want to watch for overdoing it. Sometimes with Venus Chiron, there can be a sense of like overdoing the beauty treatments, overdoing the fitness, overdoing the injections, the haircuts, the this, the that, because you're trying to overcompensate for not feeling good enough. So remember that you don't need all the bells and whistles. You just really need to be your most authentic self, and other people are going to celebrate you as well. For Taurus and Taurus rising, this is important because Venus is your chart ruler, and this Venus-Chiron conjunction is taking place for you. And this is happening for you in your natal 12th house, okay? So what can I say about this? I mean, basically it is helping heal, I think, issues pertaining to your past. It's help healing your faith in some way. It's going to really help work through issues in regards to fears of being alone, okay? Because it's like really kind of tagging your 1st house of self, your 6th house of crisis or delays, and it's happening in your 12th house. So it's like, you know, am I afraid of being alone? If you have been having health ailments, if you don't know how to learn how to ask for help, if you have been experiencing job or issues with your schedule or issues with your workspace, okay, this is going to come in to heal this. Recently, I've seen quite a few Taurus risings that are like, oh, I just, you know, lost my job, or I just got, you know, let go. And I think that that might be because of the connection to the 6th house of just where you're working or finding work or finding purposeful work. Know that Your 6th house ruler moving into the 12th in conjunction with Chiron is helping you restore the faith, it's helping you rest, and it's helping you recover, okay? So if you've been having any of these issues, it's going to help you find the faith more than anything. The card that I got for you is the King of Wands. So this can literally be about a fire sign. It can be about an Aries. It can be about a Sag or even a Leo coming in to help you heal. But I think that this is about you channeling the energy of the King of Wands. It's about being a natural born leader, having a vision, being bold, being fierce, being optimistic, and taking control. So I think this Venus transit in your 12th house can really help you kind of build yourself back up, feel like you're getting your energy back, but it can also be about becoming an entrepreneur and having the support behind the scenes spiritually to make your dreams come true. Now for Gemini and Gemini rising, this is taking place in your natal 11th house of friendships. Now Venus is the ruler for you, both of your 12th and your 5th house. So you're going to bring about issues where you're going to be healing inner child issues, trauma, fears of love or vulnerability, and also working on friendships. So part of this is because it's happening in your house of friendships. So Venus Chiron wants to open that wound up. Maybe you're wondering, where is my tribe? Who are my people? Where are my friends? How can I find like-minded people? Maybe you're feeling like you've lost a couple of friends along the way in recent years. If you have issues with your inner child, trauma from your childhood, or fears revolving around falling in love and vulnerability, Venus coming into conjunction to Chiron is going to help you work on that and work through that. The card that I got for you is the 7 of Cups. So to me, it seems like there's, it's almost like there's too many choices. Clouded judgment, many options, indecision, disarray, searching for your purpose. I feel like this can also be about, because it's merging your 12th house and your 5th house lord, finding ways to find purpose in some kind of creative project or in life in general, and looking for people who can kind of collaborate and work with you. So if you have fears of opening up and asking for help, maybe it's about finding a group or an association that you can align with that can help you with that process. And I would say, don't allow yourself to have too many things running at one time, too many projects, too many ideas. You could get really overwhelmed and really overwork yourself if you're not really focusing on one task at a time. For Cancer and Cancer rising, this Venus conjunction with Chiron is happening in your natal 10th house of career. And it may have you feeling like you're a lone ranger. Now, Venus rules your 4th house of home and family, as well as your 11th house, which deals with friendships and associations. Now, this is going to have you healing issues with family or friends from the past, and working out or healing work-related issues, or issues you have with bosses, or just standing on your own 2 feet. Now, Venus Chiron hanging out in your 10th house is really kind of bearing this issue that you're having, a public issue. It could be an issue that you're having with work, an issue you're having with a boss. Maybe you're trying to like rework something about your public image. And Venus is going to help you heal that. I think that there can be some concerns with like making some of your private life public. So if you're going through some family issues, or you're going through some relationship issues, there can be some fear with like how that comes out into the public and like what people might think about that. But I would say for the most part, this is really also like allowing you to apply some of your natural talents to your career and like work through some of the issues that you've been having in your personal life and kind of come out and be victorious. Now, Jupiter is also in this house as well, so it's encouraging you to be brave and defeat the odds. So it's a really great time for you to be like seeking people to help you redefine your public image, or rework something when it comes to your career or your relationship with superiors in general. The card that I get for you is the 4 of Pentacles. So 4 of Pentacles deals with insecurities, and whether or not you're willing to give something up, or whether or not you're willing to remain open. It's about saving money. It's also about being fragile and being guarded and being like a little standoffish and being really cautious because you're overly conservative or overly concerned. So there can be a sense of you being like really sensitive about some stuff that's going on in your professional life right now, and you not really wanting to make some of that stuff public, and you're trying to do your best to kind of like keep the balance between your private life and your work life. And I would say don't hold on too strongly. If certain things are going to come out, they're going to come out. It's just important to not allow it to affect the way that you're doing your job, and you want to make sure that you're processing emotions and issues at home with the family, dropping it at the door so you're not taking it into work and it's not affecting the actual performance that you're giving out in the world. For Leo and Leo rising, this is a Venus Chiron conjunction happening in your natal 9th house, and Venus rules naturally your 3rd and your 10th. So a couple ways that I see this could kind of play out. You know, possibly healing issues at work or with an authority figure like a boss or a parent, and healing your beliefs. There can also be legal documents and things that you're having to sign at work, or there can be some challenging kind of work reviews that can kind of come about where people are trying to give you constructive criticism about your performance, and it can be sometimes like a bit of a tough pill to swallow. You want to be really mindful of like any legal documents though, because it is involving your 9th house and your 3rd house lord. So watch your words, how you communicate, how you come across. Remain open to trying to work out issues with an authority figure. You know, some of you Leos are having lots of issues with a parent right now, and you're having to be a little bit more politically correct in how you communicate and talk to them, and like not really rocking the boat. And I would say that that's really important because there can be some issues that can kind of that can come up that can be really difficult, especially when you guys have two very different perspectives or two very different belief systems, okay? The card that I get for you, Leo, is the Hermit. And the Hermit deals with like turning inward, being more introspective. It talks a lot about your spiritual quest and withdrawing and getting inner guidance. So if you are having some of these issues with just shifts in terms of your belief system, problems with family members, things like that, sometimes taking a break, withdrawing a little bit, reflecting before you get into some conflicts or altercations with them, and really getting that inner guidance is what's necessary before you decide that you want to really have an issue with any of these people. It can be kind of hard with some of the eclipses that are going on for you currently though. For Virgo and Virgo rising, the Venus Chiron conjunction is happening in your natal 8th house, and Venus rules your 2nd of resources and your 9th, which deals with education, law, foreign travel, your belief system. Now, this is healing issues revolving around intimacy and feeling like you're not receiving enough support, enough security, enough money, enough sex, and it definitely deals with sex, sexual healing, intimacy issues, and merging with other people. So if you feel like you're always outputting and you're not receiving enough, if you feel like you're always working and you're not being appreciated and you're not, getting extra benefits or extra pay or the pat on the back, this can definitely bring an opportunity to kind of heal that and to remedy something. It can also be remedies that arise for financial issues because it's happening in your 8th house. So a lot of you guys are really going a lot deeper in the relationship zone right now, and you're realizing that there's more than just like the romance and the fairy tale of your 7th house transits. Then it's getting down and dirty and like actually being vulnerable and being open to sexual healing and connecting with another person, and talking about where your fears are and how to move through them, right? So that way you can kind of grow closer to another person. Okay, so the card that I get for you is the 9 of Swords. So that is a card of anxiety, anguish. I'm hoping this is not like a financial situation or a secret that you don't want to deal with, right? Because I could see where this is like anxiety, fear, paranoia, nightmares, isolation, despair, negativity. I think Venus there is sweet, so it does want to open up where you've had fear of insecurity or fear of intimacy and merging with another person, but it wants to heal it. It wants to bring sweetness and relationship and security in. So a lot of it for you guys is like finally addressing something that's been painful, finally addressing a scary financial situation, or finally getting back into the swing of an intimate relationship after what's been a period of time of just grieving and healing from something or someone that you lost, and like learning how to be vulnerable again. So there's a need to not isolate yourself and not be in a situation where you're cutting yourself off from that. It's especially important for you, Virgo. For Libra and Libra rising, this is important because Venus rules your chart. So Venus is going to be coming into conjunction with Chiron. It's happening in your 7th house, which is your polar energy, and it deals with relationships and partnerships, and it's wanting to heal issues relating to other people. Now, Venus rules your 1st house of the body and the 8th house of other people's resources. What this wants to do is heal relationships through setting new boundaries, pushing partners to grow, lots of opportunity for insightful conversations because Jupiter is involved as well here pretty soon. I think that you can heal a lot through relationships in regards to travel or doing programs with a partner, reading with another person, the same book. I also feel like there is a need to push beyond the status quo. Usually when Venus is in your 7th house, it's quite lovely, but Venus coming into conjunction with Chiron and Jupiter being there as well is the need to really talk out problems, communicate issues, kind of hit them head on. And while it may bring up a bit of friction, it's also going to give you the opportunity to realize what is worth fighting for and ultimately what needs to be left behind. Now, I would say just remain open, realize that even with some conflict and friction, it's the opportunity to grow closer to another person. For those of you guys who are single, you can bring somebody in who can actually help you heal issues relating to relationships and encourage you to be open to love again. The card that I get is Wish Fulfillment, 9 of Cups. Great card. This is basically getting what you want, being content, satisfaction, a wish being granted, abundance, recognition, achievement, pleasure. What's interesting is that Venus rules both your 1st and your 8th house. So it might mean that the appreciation comes under the guise of like other people giving something to you, right? Telling you a secret, giving you a bonus, giving you that pat on the back, being more affectionate. Like if there's something that you're aiming for, it's very likely to come, but there is a need to communicate and express that that is your wish, that that is your desire, so that way it can be fulfilled. For Scorpio and Scorpio rising, you've got a Venus-Chiron conjunction happening in your natal 6th house. So this is interesting because the 6th house deals with delays, it deals with healing, co-workers, pets, your schedule, your daily routine, your health. And Venus is the ruler of your natal 7th and 12th house, Scorpio. So this is about letting other people help you, knowing when to ask for help, letting partners help you through a crisis or through a situation, or vice versa, you stepping in to help a partner with something that they are struggling with. It could be helping them with a chore list or stuff that they need to get done. It can also be helping them while another person is under the weather. Now, Venus rules your 7th and your 12th, and I think Venus being the ruler of your 12th going into your 6th is healing issues revolving around feeling alone or cast aside. It's going to help heal through giving you remedies or new methods or new health practices or anything like that. So if you're looking to bring in people who can kind of help you, if you've been feeling under the weather or dealing with a health-related issue, it'll help. It'll also make you feel like you're doing work that's of service that feels good, right? So it might be like, oh, I have to help, so-and-so so much with something, or my partner's sick, or, I need to do more around the house or fix things or help them with something. But there's going to be a sense of like fulfillment and being of service to somebody else that's really going to make you feel good. So you can heal health ailments, and there's a lot of rising to the occasion, even though I think it's going to present you with quite a bit of busy work over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be something that feels really good. The card that I got for you is the Queen of Cups. So this can be you, Scorpio, really feeling like your cup is runneth over, feeling very emotional, very sensitive, very open, because you are more caring and more generous, and helping others in turn heals you. It's about being compassionate, warm, intuitive, going with the flow, supportive, being more empathic. That can be for your partners, for a cause, for a nonprofit, for an animal, and just learning to stay open and being able to spread more love in general. This can also be a water sign coming into your life who can help you with this process and help you heal things emotionally. For Sag and Sag rising, this is a Venus Chiron conjunction happening in your natal 5th house, which deals with children, romance, dating, creative projects, self-employment. Now, Venus is the ruler of your 11th house of friendships and your 6th house of daily routine. So for you, this is about healing the heart, the inner child, issues with children, blocks that you have revolving around creativity or having fun. And I really think that it's going to help you open up your heart again. Now, I really love this transit. Venus is very happy when it transits the 5th house, even if it's coming in conjunction with Chiron. Jupiter, your chart ruler, is moving into this part of your chart as well. And I think you're learning how to play and you're learning how to be creative, and that art can be therapeutic, that you deserve to have a free day or time off, that you deserve to be artistic and authentic and to go out there and sing and dance and have a good time and act like you're, you know, this young little kid. This can be an amazing opportunity to fall in love with somebody in a way that is very genuine and very like 6 of Cups energy. I don't know. That's like the best way that I can put it. It's going to give you the ability, I think, to believe in love again. And if you've had any issues in regards to past love or romance, if you've had any issues with children, if you have a child that's been dealing with a health ailment, I think that they're going to get better. But it's all about staying open and staying heart-centered for you. Now, being that it's happening in another fire sign as well, I think is really important because it's going to make some of these shifts happen very quickly. All right. So the card that I get for you is the Emperor. Wow. Respect, leadership, father figures, significant men. It can be Aries. It can be about feeling your divine masculine energy, working with that divine masculine energy. So perfect for an Aries transit. And feeling like you're coming into control and feeling like more discipline with your creative projects, more discipline with children, perhaps like more in charge of your own happiness and not relying on other people to kind of define that for you. I think it's interesting also that like Venus rules your 11th house of friendships and your 6th house. So it's also saying that you're realizing some of your goals revolving around fun and pleasure require you to make some changes in your daily routine or in your schedule so you can better facilitate that. For Capricorn and Cap rising, you've got a Venus Chiron conjunction happening in your natal 4th house. This is your home and family zone. And Venus rules your natal 5th and your natal 10th. Okay, so, you know, basically, this is going to be about healing family issues. And I would find it hard to believe that there aren't some of these coming up for you, especially Capricorn rising. Especially relating to parents, you know, healing the professional image, maybe healing issues revolving around what you're doing for a living. But I get the impression because it's happening in your 4th house, it's definitely bringing up issues within the home zone, issues with a home, a parent, roommates, something that's going on within, you know, your clan in general. And if there's a problem going on with one of your parents, there may be this feeling of like needing to jump in or issues with parenting and how that actually creates a bit of conflict when it comes to your responsibility to your career. So some of you guys in recent weeks have realized you have to go home, you have to deal with a family crisis, you have to step in and take care of a parent. It's affecting your ability to do your job or kind of take care of your home base. So it is more uncomfortable for the cardinal signs. So it's not just you, you know, Aries and Cancer and Libra, you guys are all in this together. Thankfully, it's going to be more private for you, so I think that you'll be able to work through it much more privately, but watch out for issues that come up with parents because I think that that's something that's inevitable to happen. All right, so what's coming up for you is the Queen of Swords. And this can be dealing with an air sign woman. So it can be a Gemini, a Libra, or an Aquarius. This is about being fair, right? Being honest, being direct, having important conversations, being objective, learning how to speak your truth, being very direct about certain situations. I think that for you, this is like if you need to have a one-on-one conversation with somebody, you need to have it. There can be somebody who comes in that is saying, you know, we need to talk. We need to talk about what to do with a home situation. We need to sign a lease, anything in regards to just exchange of information. She did come up upright, so I do feel like it's somebody who is going to help you talk through the situation and make sense of it. But I feel like it can also be somebody who can be kind of abrasive in how they're communicating and expressing something, and you really have to do your best to communicate and go back and forth with them in a way that's not going to be confrontational, okay? For Aquarius and Aquarius rising, you've got a Venus-Chiron conjunction happening in Aries in your natal 3rd house. Now, Venus is the ruler of your 4th and your 9th, and the 3rd house deals with communication, contracts, move, siblings, neighbors, things like that. I feel like because Venus rules your 4th and your 9th, this is about healing through journaling, trips, possibly the beginning process of realizing that you need to start communicating and expressing your feelings, especially if you're having some kind of pain. Difficult conversations with family members or with siblings or with neighbors can come about as well. And you may feel the need to like kind of get out of town briefly or move or, you know, talk to somebody at a safe distance. So you may not feel comfortable talking in person. You might feel like, you know what, give me some breathing room. I will then call you back, respond to you. I'd rather talk to you on the phone or send you an email. And if you must, you know, take time and do consider journaling or anything that's going to give you the opportunity to kind of write all your feelings out on paper. Maybe you've been wanting to get closure with a situation, you don't know how, and you feel like it's just best just to write somebody a letter. Consider doing that. It can be very therapeutic. You can write it and go through it a couple times and then make a decision as to whether or not you want to send it to that person. But realize that part of what's kind of opening up is you're realizing that you have some kind of hurt that comes from either the past, feelings that haven't been dealt with, or issues in regards to a home or a domestic situation. The card that comes up for you is the King of Wands. He's making another appearance. Obviously, this is about taking initiative, being brave, being courageous, standing up, taking control. I think it's also just about being bold. So when I think of this happening in your 3rd house, there can be bold conversations. There can be standing up for yourself in a way that you have not for some time or ever before, and communicating and expressing with people, you know, that you're moving forward, that you're no longer going to continue to kind of stay in the same place emotionally or quite literally. And last but not least, we've got Pisces. So we've got a Venus-Chiron conjunction happening in Aries. It's your 2nd house, which deals with self-esteem, money, resources, your spending power in general. Now, Venus rules your natal 3rd and your 8th house. And I see this as healing financial and self-worth issues. So if you feel like you have been talking, you know, negatively about yourself or talking down to yourself about what you do or you don't have, or whether or not you are valuable, this is going to be something that's definitely going to be worked on. Be mindful of how you talk to yourself, about yourself. Don't be tying too much of self-worth to what you do or don't have physically. That can be the traps of this conjunction happening in your natal 2nd house. I think it's also helping you work through issues where maybe you've had to work harder for your own resources because you didn't communicate and express to other people your bottom line and what you needed. So contracts might be something that comes up because Venus rules your 3rd, where you're going to avoid kind of you know, not being paid full amounts or your worth or anything like that by, you know, setting the stage and communicating and expressing that contracts need to be signed prior to undergoing any, you know, business deals or transactions or anything of that nature, especially because it involves your 8th house Lord. Now, if you need to heal any issues relating to self-worth, that's going to happen. But I also think that it's about realizing that you're worth more, and that that you shouldn't have to work so hard, and that it's okay to give yourself the things that you need and the nice things, and that you are worthy of receiving all of this. So a lot of manifestation, a lot of abundance work, a lot of self-worth stuff in general is going to be taking place here. Lovely card that I got for you, the 10 of Pentacles. So interesting. This talks about long-term wealth and stability. This talks about inheritance, financial security, long-term success, privilege, anything in regards to your family, your ancestry. So there can be a sense of you going like, I'm going to build this myself, and I'm going to build my empire, and I'm going to bring everything together, and it's going to be something that's going to last some time. Certainly in the second house, we do sometimes see generational wealth. We also see talent as well. So I think the 10 of Coins is really talking about getting paid your worth and realizing that you're worth more, perhaps charging more, asking for more, and really reiterating the fact that you are worthy and that you are abundant. It's important to keep telling yourself that. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Like I said, we're going to be feeling it really over the next couple of days. It won't really heat up until the 14th or the 15th of May. But I think it was important to get this out there so that way you guys are aware of some of the symbolism of Venus and Chiron out in the cosmos right now. Certainly we're seeing it in the world, everything in regards to women's rights and those who are standing up in support of women's rights, women's reproductive rights, their bodies. We're going to see a lot more pertaining to feminism and female empowerment and anything related to women and the arts, and how the divine feminine is being depicted more in a masculine way. So it's not this Venus in, all of these flowing golden locks and these luxurious robes and flowers. It's Venus trading all of that in for almost like her, Athena get up and her sword and her armor, and charging into battle because she's demanding the need to fight and protect the divine feminine. So it's going to be interesting to see, how this materializes, I think, out in the world, and where feminists are not just inherently women, and they're not limited to those who identify as natural-born women. It may transcend into, those who are transsexual, and the list goes on. So I know it's a very sensitive subject when we start talking about genders and also how people identify, but I think the term of what it means to be a woman and supporting or defending or fighting for women is going to be something that's going to come up a lot. And we're going to see a lot of fierceness revolving around women entertainers, female artists, anything like that. So let me know, are you a Aries, sun, moon, or rising around these degrees? Is your North Node or your Venus around these degrees? If so, it's a really important time to be integrating more openness to love, healing, beauty, but also what it means to hopelessly and unapologetically be a woman. Mars in Aries deals with cutting and blood and violence, and I think there's something to be said about the fact that the feminine energy is going to kind of probably show a little bit more of a reactionary and aggressive side over the next couple of days. So if you have those placements, realize why that's coming. Try to use art and flowers and music and things like drumming or working with hot herbs or red candles, golden candles, anything that's going to be producing heat, like fire magic or shamanic dance or drumming. These kinds of things can be wonderful ways to work with the Venus Chiron to literally burn it, purge it, clear it, heal it. Fire is an amazing element to use magically to be able to expel things as well. So it's not abnormal to be a little bit more angry. It's not abnormal to be kind of reminiscing and thinking back and getting upset or vengeful or reactionary because of old love that didn't, kind of pan out. what we want to do is acknowledge where that wound is and kind of go, oh wow, there's some pain there. How do I add a little bit of, you know, TLC or some sugar into that wound so that way I can work through it and I'm not dragging the weight, so to say, of that pain with me. So let me know, where is it happening in your chart? Are you feeling it? Are you experiencing this in a square or an opposition or a conjunction to your natal placements? Let me know where it's happening in your houses. How is it materialized for you? I'm trying to do more because a lot of people have said, you know, they like it when I share. Like I said, it's not been comfortable for me. Venus going into my 7th house, squaring my natal Chiron and my natal Venus, has really made me realize that a lot of the conflicts and the issues that I am experiencing with other people, provoking me to some extent, is bringing out a lot of my own insecurities and a lot of my own issues that I haven't dealt with personally. So I'm trying to, you know, let it flow through my 7th and my 10th house by, you know, telling people what's up if it's something that is upsetting me, or if it's creating some kind of an issue, or if it's opening a wound, and also sharing that with the world and integrating that more into my work and talking to people about how sometimes these situations come up, so we learn how to heal, so they're in turn we help heal other people, right? All right, guys, so I'll let it be at that. Hope this transit does well for you. I will see all of you guys later this week. You take care and enjoy.